Hey y'all, welcome to episode 1 of the Liberty Lovin' Kitchen with your host, Barrett Patton.
Hey y'all.
And myself, Patrick Patton. We're super excited to bring you some of our favorite recipes and how we prepare them. Today what we're working on is we are rendering hog fat into leaf lard. I've got about 60 some pounds here. So we're planning on making quite a bit. Something I've done for a while, and it's in the recipes we use it really does make the difference. So I'm going to start getting things ready by putting some water in the bottom of the pots that we're going to be rendering it in, and I'll let Barrett talk to y'all for a second.
So y'all heard Dad call what we're making leaf lard, and that's because the type of fat we're using is called leaf fat. And leaf fat is the fat that surrounds the hog's kidney. And leaf fat is the purest, cleanest, and whitest fat that the hog has to offer. Now you can buy leaf lard in the store, but most, I can't say all, but most of the leaf lard that I've seen available in stores is partially hydrogenated, meaning that it goes through a process to increase its shelf life while also increasing the amount of trans fat that the lard contains. And trans fat is the absolute worst kind of fat that a person can consume. So the process that we're going to show you today is the best way to get pure leaf lard without any of the added unnecessary stuff that's not good for you.
Normally I wouldn't pour one from one pot into the other, but what I did there was I got too much water into my big pot. What I'm doing that for, I put water in the bottom of the pot, just a little bit, just to get it started so you don't burn the actual fat before it starts to render. But I'm going to cut all these bags open here, as you can see. And these are vacuum sealed. I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but all the fat we get from a local butcher who provides us with only pasture raised, as well as no antibiotics or no hormones in the hogs that they process. So it's a very clean hog.
And pure hog makes for pure lard. Isn't that right?
That's right. There's nothing better than a clean pig.
Watching you cut up this hog makes me feel like I'm back in high school biology. My freshman year, our big project was to dissect a pig and look at all the different parts, the organs, and all kinds of different stuff. So that's kind of what we're doing today. Just
It's all pretty gross.
yeah, it definitely was for us. And approximately how much lard do you think this will give us by the time we're done?
Last time I did this, I got about 50 pounds of fat, and I'm going to say that made about roughly I usually put it in mason jars, and I think I got about 20 some, roughly 20 quarts. This should make us at least 20 quarts. Where I made the pictures of all the leaf fat the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And on the last time I made it, and it was actually just under 2 years ago. So it lasts a long time. Now I made a bunch, but as far as keeping, it keeps no problem. I usually freeze it, but I always have one open, and sometimes I'll have one open just in the pantry at room temperature for up to, you know, it may sit out there for a month or 2 months. You know, it kind of goes in spurts. Sometimes I'll do a lot, but one good thing that we do here, you can use this for a lot of things. You can use it for if you deep fry, like I'll keep some. I'll probably use a couple gallons of this to put in my deep fryer. Leaf lard is, and any solid fat that's solid at room temperature, has a, well, I say that. Leaf fat has a lower, let me start over. Leaf fat has a high smoke point. And one of the benefits about it, if you don't want your food to be, a lot of times, you know, a lot of foods will absorb a lot of fat, a lot of the grease when you're cooking them, deep frying them. Leaf fat, leaf lard, that type of fat does not
And you're just putting that into a pot of hot water?
Just a pot of hot water. Just got about an inch of water on the bottom of it. Got about an inch of water on the bottom of that pot. And that will protect the fat until it gets going a little bit. But what was I saying about the when you
high smoke points.
You know, when you put it in the pot, put it in, put about an inch of water at the bottom of it, which will keep this from the initial heat from burning it, and it'll give it time to get to rendering. And then subsequent loads, as I put in there, it'll be going into melted fat, so at that point there's no more danger of burning.
And you know, Dad's been cooking for our family for a number of years now, and he's a really good cook, has a lot of really awesome recipes, which you'll see if you subscribe to our channel and like this video and give us a comment, and definitely share this video with friends and family who might find this interesting. But in a
or
lot,
even if they don't find this interesting.
yeah, that too. Lard is a very key ingredient in a lot of his recipes. Biscuits, everything.
Yeah, so kind of my thought process here is I'm going to start off showing you how we render lard. And then my next video, which I hope to have out in just a few days, I'll be showing you how to make homemade buttermilk lard biscuits. And there's nothing better than a homemade buttermilk biscuit. And you make it with lard and use all good, just good old ingredients. And it makes a really nice biscuit. And you'll see that. By the time I actually post it, I may post these videos concurrently, so you can go straight from one and straight to the next.
And we're also going to make gravy in that video, so you'll see what it takes to make a really classic and really good Southern breakfast that we ate a lot in our family.
And we'll have biscuits. We'll have biscuits and gravy, of course. We'll have usually cook a fair amount of bacon and sausage. And we fry it all up on the griddle outside, so it's always a good meal. It's probably my favorite meal. It was my favorite meal my mom made when I was growing up, and I still love it. Now that's not Barrett's favorite meal though. What's your favorite meal, son?
Oh, probably of what you make.
You got something you like better than what I make?
No.
Well, you said probably what you make.
That
opens the door for you like other people's food. There's another food you like better than something I make.
I understand that, but that's not true.
That's very hurtful stuff.
Well, it is never my intention to cause you pain. No, but I think
never.
Very rarely is it my intention to. Anyway, I think your pizza, which we'll show you in another video here before too long, is one of my favorite meals.
You know what I thought you was gonna say?
What?
It's a side.
Oh, French fries too.
No,
Yeah.
no. Seriously, you told me the other day that's what your favorite?
Oh, yeah, I did say that, didn't I?
What did you say?
Gouda mac and cheese. His
Gourmet mac and cheese.
His mac and cheese is the best mac and cheese I have ever eaten. And not only that I have ever eaten, that anybody who ever eats it, friends, family, they're like, oh, Patrick, what is this? What is the recipe for this mac and cheese? So it's really good.
And it is my #1 requested dish, you would say, and it is very good. So we'll be making that in one of the coming episodes.
So I think we can definitely promise you food that's good, food that's tasty. As far as good for you, that's not something we're very skilled at on this channel, probably.
Yeah, we don't do a lot of, I guess you would say, light dishes. The only way to make my dishes light is probably going to be just not to eat very much of it. For example, I make a lot of things that use a lot of garlic, but I'll smoke my own garlic.
Again, another video that he's gonna make. That we're gonna make.
I like to smoke my own garlic and then dry it out and then chop it up in a food processor. So I actually have a smoked garlic powder that is nothing but pure garlic powder because it comes from just pure garlic. So there's nothing else in there, and it's very good too. And I usually make a pretty good chunk. Last time I made, I guess 2 short quarts. Yeah, keep those, store those up. And most of these things last a long time. Actually, like I said, I keep this in the freezer for, well, it'll keep, I would say probably indefinitely if you keep it in the freezer. So you can, I'd rather do a whole bunch and not have to do it that often than to do it more frequently in smaller amounts. Because what I'm going to get out of this will be enough for me and my family for, you know, probably a year.
But we usually have lard even stacked up in the pantry, so you don't even have to put it in the freezer necessarily, and it still lasts a really long time.
Yeah, I didn't put it in the freezer the first time I made it. I probably let it go for, I would have no problem keeping this lard in the pantry for a year. And I've done that, and it hasn't, you know, it doesn't go bad. And then cook it some more. You want to make sure you boil off, render out all the moisture. If you don't do that, you'll find, I did this the first time I ever did this many years ago, the top would be kind of, when you open it up, it wouldn't have the most pleasant smell. And that wasn't like because it was old, it was like right away after I did it. Just a small amount of moisture in there. That actually ended up melting it all down again to clean it up that way. But I don't know if you can hear this. You can hear there's a lot of little things you cut through in here. I'll bring up the camera a little bit closer and let you see it real good. But you can see there's little veins and that's actually, like I said, a very, very clean fat. As we get further into this, when it starts to render down, I'll make sure to show you what comes out of all this.
Now I don't know this, but is most lard typically rendered from leaf fat, or are there other places that people
Usually if it's leaf lard, it will say leaf lard, because leaf fat is, as far as just going to the butcher and getting fat, it's fairly expensive. And a lot of times you can get a butcher to just give you fat, or you know, because a lot of it they just throw away. But as far as leaf fat goes, because it does make such a good lard, you could pay anywhere from $2 to, I've seen it as high as $3.50 a pound. That's just for the leaf fat, which of course you still got all this work involved in there. So it's not a cheap fat. Got 3 pots going now.
It's a lot of hog fat.
And almost got it all in there.
Hopefully he kept y'all sufficiently entertained while I stepped away.
Well, I probably didn't, but that's what the editor's for. I don't think I reminded them that some of the important parts of what they would be doing.
Yes, it is very important that you smash that like button.
Whoa, that was very aggressive.
Well, I think you still beat me on the aggressive like contest. Anyway, definitely like this video, comment, subscribe, and when you subscribe, be sure to hit that bell notification, because notifications in YouTube are weird. And share this video around.
Well, Barrett, we've got all the pots boiling.
I think we've crammed about every last possible inch of those pots with fat.
We did. So what's next on the agenda?
Well, I think we're gonna let that cook for a few hours, and we'll be back in a little bit to show you what all that looks like after it's rendered down and starts to look a little bit more like actual lard. But for now, we're gonna sign off, but don't forget to smash that like button.
Smash it.
Comment with any questions or feedback you have, stuff that you might like to see. Subscribe, and when you subscribe, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. But we'll be back in just a little bit here on the Liberty Loving Kitchen.
Well, we want to comment too.
I said comment.
Oh, my bad. Okay. Yeah, comment, people. Thank you. See you shortly. Here is 60 pounds of leaf fat in 3 pretty good sized pots. This middle one's about 5 gallons. It's a 20 quart. That's I don't know, I think a 10 or 12 quart. And this is not as big, but anyway, This is how it looks now. Here we are into the rendering process, roughly about an hour. You'll notice that all the oil has gotten up to nearly the top, and you can see there's still quite a bit left to be rendered. I would imagine it's probably going to take at least a couple to 3 more hours to get this before I start skimming off the cracklins, or as Al Bundy used to call them, the toaster leavings. Anyway, we'll check back here again shortly and see what it's looking like in another hour or so. Okay, we're about 2 hours into the cook, and let's see how things are turning out now. And I don't know if I showed y'all this last time, but when you stir it, you free it up a little bit, and it's kind of like when you put French fries into cook, the moisture boils off. It's not doing that so much here, but this right here will probably do a little bit more because it doesn't appear to be as done. So you can see all the cracklings on top, and we'll just stir that up a little bit. You want to be very careful when you're handling this. This obviously is a lot of very hot oil. Trying to scrape the bottom a little bit. And this pot appears to be cooking a little bit more. You can see how the ones right there haven't been cooked as much. I'm going to put these in for another hour. Let them cook out real good. Then what I'll do is I'll take a strainer and skim all this cracklins out. Okay, we've passed another hour. I'm going to check everything. We should be getting close to, if not finished with, woo-wee. Yeah, those cracklins may be a little toasted. So we'll skim those off here in just a second. Check these out. And turn off all the heat. After I skim these off, I will still continue to make sure there's no moisture in here by continuing to heat it for a short amount of time. Give me a couple bowls here to skim off. I'm just going to use a large strainer. Let that drip for a second. And go ahead and put it in there. And after we get everything done here, we will be using a filter. A commercial, actual filter made for filtering kitchen oil. That's most of that one. Pull this off. Good to let a good chunk of it drain out first, but we will recover the oil that makes it into the bottom of this bowl. As you can see, we've got quite a bit of liquid here. Hard to believe all that turned into this. Okay, we've rendered all the oil now, and what we're going to do next is we'll begin filtering it and straining it. And with this apparatus we can do both at the same time. I've got this little bit that I pulled out of the what did I call that stuff? The toaster leavings.
Yeah, he does like to use that word for
Be able to,
anything left over.
I know, I'm drawing a blank now. So here we're straining with the metal strainer, as well as filtering out the smaller items with the, I want to say paper filter. I'm not sure that it's paper. And this makes a pretty good mess. Oh, but we're gonna have a lot of lard when I'm done. And as I said a couple times, always be very careful. This would peel your skin right off. There's the first little pot. Still hot, so I'll set it back over here.
Maybe you already said this, but what was the total time the fat actually rendered?
About 2.5 or 3 hours. I'm not 100%. I'm going to ask you to, if you would, pull over here just for a second so I don't get you. If I were to drop this and it got on you, boy, would that make
It would not be comfortable.
make you very unhappy, I promise. That's good. It's about a 5-gallon pot there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's about 2 to 3 inches away from being full. So very warm. Now, come on back in. And if I didn't mention it earlier, this is a messy undertaking. I think this container's pretty full. And when this dries, this will be perfectly white. But I'm still not done with it yet. I'm going to filter it very, very good here. Then I will put it back in a pot. Heat it again and filter it again, just to make sure it's very clean and very pure. I'm gonna get these pots cleaned up and then we'll be back in a moment.
In the meantime, be sure to smash that like button, leave us a comment, subscribe, and share it with your friends. We'll see you back here in a little bit on the Liberty Loving Kitchen.
Okay, magically we are back and the pots that we rendered everything in have been cleaned. So what we're now going to do is transfer all this back into it. We will filter it for a second time just to make sure everything's gotten out of it. You want to say something, son?
And again, you don't have to do that second filtering, but if you're gonna go to the effort, you might as well make sure you get all the impurities out.
Yeah, at this point we've got so much time in this. I'm going to move it to this anyway, just to make sure I've got all the moisture out of it. So when you're doing that, instead of just dumping it in there, I figure I might as well filter it one more time. Just so I know it's extra pure. And this is going to be so pretty when it's done. there we go. And when this drips out, don't know how well you can see this, but just a few extra crumbs it picked up on that second.
Not a lot,
See
just a couple.
Just a few crumbs it picked up on that second filter, but I'm glad we did it because now we know it's extremely clean. So next in the process, I'm going to be reheating these oils and then be transferring them to containers, which we will show you, but it's very late tonight, so at this point we're going to leave these on the stove. I'll clean up a little bit and then we will resume in the morning.
We're about to go to bed, but before y'all go to bed, I need you to do me a favor and smash that like button, leave us a comment, share, and subscribe. We will see you again in the morning here on the Liberty Loving Kitchen.
In case you haven't noticed, that's very important to Barrett that you do all those things, so please don't let us down. And good night, we'll see you in just a second.
Good night, everybody. Have a good one. All of our rendered leaf lard for the second time, and cooking it at a real low temperature to make sure that all of the moisture had been cooked out of it. So we did that. We put it back into clean pots, and this morning we let it run on heat for a couple hours. And now all that's left to do is put it in jars and store it away for use for the next year and a half or so. So we're going to take you through that process.
Or just, doesn't matter how long, just whenever,
Yeah.
till it's gone. So I know I'm going to need, my fryer holds about 1.5 gallons. I'm going to put about 2 gallons in here, just so I've got enough of that. And no need to can all of that if I'm just going to be using it specifically for the fryer, which I plan to do. So there we go. That is 8 quarts right there. I'm going to move this to the side. And so I'll just dip this right into it.
And I'd imagine it's maybe not as hot as it was before.
No, it's, I apologize. Go ahead, son.
But you'd still want to be very, very careful. After you finish watching this video, feel free to look at episode 2 that should be already posted on our channel, where we'll show you how to make biscuits using this lard that we've rendered, plus gravy as well.
Yeah, in the coming weeks we'll use some of this lard in some of the recipes that we're going to share with you. Like he mentioned, biscuits. I use it actually for the gravy as well. Some people like to do it with bacon. I usually make a huge mess, and his mom likes to fuss about it sometimes.
Yeah, my mom,
Our mom.
his wife, he likes to claim that he's our brother sometimes.
Well, that's because I look so young.
Yes. But cleaning kitchens is not,
And we look so similar.
is definitely not my mom's favorite thing in the world to do.
But I do all the cooking. So she reluctantly agrees to do most of the cleanup. However, on projects like this, I'm usually on my own as far as doing and cleaning. So this is a project that is entirely my project. Except for I get help from my boy. He's my boy.
In case you didn't know.
I've only been cooking about 10 years. Funny story as to how I got into cooking. I guess, like I said, about 10 years ago. 10, 11, maybe 12 years, I don't know. It's been a while. Whoop. I just made a big mess there, didn't I? Started cooking because I was told that it would be good for my marriage if I would start being responsible for dinner every night. So I always wanted to please my wife.
And I would say that theory has proven true.
That it's been good for our marriage?
Yes.
I started cooking. And I just started to enjoy it more and got more and more into it. And here we are. I have a cooking channel. Hopefully. That kind of depends on y'all.
Which is why, once again, I need you to smash that like button, leave us the comment, subscribe and hit the notification bell, and share this video around.
Yes.
In case you didn't know, that spiel has become my job.
What is that?
A spiel?
Spiel, what does that mean? You spilled something?
No.
That's what it sounds like. So here is my last quart from my last batch. And you can see how pure white this is. And I'll pull some out here. It looks just like, it's not the same consistency as Crisco, but it's better, way better than Crisco, but it's, my hands are clean, so I'm putting it back in there. It works very well, and like I said, it looks very brownish, goldish right now, but once it solidifies, it will be a very pure white color, and very good. Just the thing you need for your biscuits, and if you make homemade pizza dough, if you make flour tortillas, anything like that's going to be better with real lard.
If any of y'all watching already cook with lard, let us know down in the comments what you use lard for.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We basically use lard for, sometimes for deep frying, always for biscuits, and my newest pizza recipe has it. We make a homemade version of Bisquick that, you know, Bisquick has fat in it, and instead of using the hydrogenated oil that they put in Bisquick, we make it from lard and mix it up, and we'll be showing you that in the coming weeks as well. We have quite a few things planned, recipes planned to share, meals.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Barry, you want to sign us off for now?
Yeah, again, thanks for joining us on the Liberty Loving Kitchen. You know, I have to remind you one more time, smash that like button, leave us a comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and share this video with all your friends and all your family. And we just look forward to continuing to share stuff with you.
Subscribe.
I said that.
I know.
Oh,
I'm just reinforcing.
okay.
Subscribe.